Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to be going over how to place orders via the Coinbase API. So we have been going over the Coinbase API for some time now, and what I decided to do is just to convert it into a package. And I have submitted the package to CRAN and I'm waiting to hear back from them. But hopefully within the next 2 weeks, this package should be available and you would go ahead and install it once it's available, just as you would for any other package. But for now, I'm just going to be working off of the tar file, which I was able to test and install on both Windows and Mac. And the only thing you have to do to get this package to work and run is to save your tokens. So that would be your API key and your private key. So you would just go ahead and replace these two values with your own, save it, and then place that RDS file inside of your working directory, as the package is just going to search whatever your working directory is and look for that RDS file there. That's pretty much all you have to do to get that code for getting started. I made that available in the package. So you could run line 27 and that should open up a window in your web browser, and that's where you'll be able to see the R code. So just copy that into an R script and replace the API key and the private key with your own. So again, that's pretty much all you have to do to get this package to work, and you can run all the functions. So while we wait for the package to get approved, I am going to be placing that tar file in my Patreon. Otherwise, once CRAN approves it, everybody's going to have access to it. The API documentation has about 10 examples of different order placements, so I'm going to be going over those in this tutorial. Now within the package, I did have a wrapper that you can use for order IDs, which is in line 38. And for all the orders that we will be placing, that is the default value for the order IDs, unless you want to replace it with your own. But for all 10 examples, the order ID is required. It's just going to default to requesting a new one via this function. All right, so to get started, we're going to place a market order to purchase Bitcoin, and this is the quantity I want to trade. Now for this example only, we're going to pass in an order ID, and for the rest of the orders, this will be left out, as the default will just call this function from within the package. So let's take a look at order management in Coinbase, and we see that this was the latest trade. So if we place the order here, and we go back to the order management, we'll have to refresh it. We now see that the order here for the size that we specified, and we see that this order was filled. So again, be careful when placing market orders, as these will fill. Now in the next section, we're going to go ahead and close out our position. So here we're just going to place a market order for Bitcoin to sell. And again, notice that we didn't specify a order ID. So let's go ahead and run this block, and we'll take a look at the order management again, and we'll go ahead and refresh it. And we see that the order was filled. So again, we have a buy and the sell. Now if we go back to RStudio, we'll take a look at what exactly it returns. So we'll take a look at the bought and sold. So for each of these, you'll get a response. Most likely, if the orders go through, this first column will be true, and just kind of a small confirmation. So there's a total of 10 columns, and it should be the same for the market buy. And whatever your order ID was, you'll see it here under client order ID. So I guess the client order ID is mostly used to reconcile trades perhaps, as we do get an order ID in the response, and this order ID comes from Coinbase. Now if we continue on, the rest of these orders will most likely be limit orders. So here in the next block, we have an immediate or cancel order. Now for this specific order, we have to place a limit price, and we're going to calculate the quantity by dividing the trade amount, which was $50, by the limit price we're inserting. So you just call this function. The product ID will be BTC. The side will be to buy. We're going to pass in our quantity and the limit price. So if we run this block here, and we go to order management, and we refresh the page, you'll see that since this was an immediate or canceled, it got automatically canceled since the price was 115, but it's trading at around 118. Now for the next section, or the next block, we have limit orders. Now for the limit orders, we have two functions. One is good till canceled, and the other one is good till day or specific time. So if the order is not filled within a specific time frame, it's just going to expire. And of course, the good till canceled, we'll just leave it on. And I believe you have to manually cancel this one. It's not like the stocks where they expire in 30 days. Let's try and submit an order, which is good till canceled, and I want to purchase ETH at 1900, and again we're going to calculate our quantity. So let's go ahead and run this block now, and if we go to our order management, we see that the order just posted, so it's open. Now let's go ahead and cancel the order, and we can do this through the API. So in the next block, all we have to pass in is the response order ID. That order ID gets returned to us from Coinbase. So if we take a look at order limit, we're going to be passing in this order ID, not the one that we provided. So let's go ahead and cancel the order, and you'll see whether or not it was successful. And since it was, there's no failure reason, and this was the result order ID. So if we take a look at order management again, we now see that this order is canceled. Now for the limit orders that do expire, you want to use the function that has GTD instead of GTC. Now in this particular order, since it's a limit order, we need to pass in the limit price. We're going to calculate the quantity, and we want to purchase Solana, pass in the quantity, limit price, and for the order expiration, which is a new field, we're going to use the current time and add 5 minutes. So if we go ahead and run this block here, we'll take a look at the order management, and we now see that this order is posted. Now you can wait out the 5 minutes or not. If you don't want to wait the 5 minutes, you could just run line 82. I'm just going to go ahead and do that. Now we come to our fill or kill orders. This has to be relatively close to the market price for it to work, or else the order is just going to get rejected, because with this order you're intending to buy a certain quantity at a certain limit price, and if it doesn't fill immediately, then just kill the order. So let me go ahead and check what the price is for Solana. So Solana is around 176, so let's change that to 170, and we're going to go ahead and run this block. And if we take a look at the response, it was successful. Now, if we go to our order management, we see that it got canceled. So it wasn't able to fill us at 170. So it just went ahead and canceled the order. Now, the next couple of functions are quite interesting, as I haven't used these types of orders, but apparently there's a time-weighted average price order, and this calculates the average price of a product, and it will use that TWAP to execute an order over a specific duration. So let's just say we want to buy Bitcoin at this particular price. So we need to calculate our quantity. Now, once we insert those parameters, we also need to insert when this order should take effect. So it should start in 1 minute and it's going to expire in 6. We're going to pass in the limit price, and we also need to pass in the number of buckets and the bucket duration, which is in seconds, I believe. And from my understanding, what this will do is it's going to split the quantity and the number of buckets that you choose, and I guess it's going to use the bucket duration to split up our quantity. So let's just go ahead and run this block and see what it returns over in our order management. So if we go to Coinbase here, and I guess for this order to go through, it has to reach the limit price first. So let's go ahead and cancel this order. I'm going to run line 104. All right, so for the next two orders, I'm not going to be running these because these are stop limit orders and I currently don't have anything open. So you would just use these as regular stops, and one is GTC while the other one's GTD. So again, just as our previous functions for the limit orders, if you're going to be using the GTD version, you need to insert the order expiration. And for both of these, we need to insert the stop direction as well. So if we purchase Bitcoin or Ethereum and we want to protect our capital, we would insert a stop loss order, and the for both should be sell, since we've purchased ETH for BTC. And for the stop direction, since we initially purchased the stock so we're long, our stop direction will be stop down. Now the final two order types are trigger bracket orders. So the first one's good till canceled, and the last one is good till day or a specific time. So again, the main difference when you're using GTD orders is that you need to insert an expiration time. These bracket orders work a little bit differently than what I've seen for stocks. So the way that these are going to work is similar to our limit orders. We need to pass in the product ID, the side, the quantity, and the limit price. Now the additional parameter here is the stop trigger price, which I originally thought that this was similar to a stop order, but instead what you want to do for the stop trigger price is you want to actually set this higher than the limit price you're using. And what this will do is if it reaches the limit price of 150, it's going to initially send an order to buy for the quantity that you specified, and it's going to wait until the trigger price sets. So if we set this higher to say like 160, when it reaches 160, it's going to place a stop loss order, and according to the documentation, it says that it's going to place it 5% below that stop trigger price. So as you see from my variables here, I want to set the limit price to 150. We're going to calculate our quantity, and the stop trigger price will be 15% above the 150 price. So let's go ahead and send that and see what that looks like on the order management. So if we go to Coinbase here, I'm going to refresh the page. So it looks like there was an error somewhere. So let's go take a look at the response. Order trigger GTC. So here the error response is that the stop trigger price is outside of the bounds. So let's go ahead and modify that. So since Solana was around 176, we'll just change this to 175, and we'll go ahead and rerun this block here. If we go to Coinbase, now we see the order here. Now, since Solana was trading around 176, we want to purchase Solana at 175, and we set our trigger at 201.25. Now, the reason why I rejected the order is because I was using 150 as my limit price, and the stop trigger was 15% higher, so it would have been around 173. But since Solana is trading at 176, the order got rejected. So those are things that you want to keep in mind when you're using these orders. Let's go ahead and cancel that order. Now, for the final one, it's exactly the same thing, except now we want to want to insert an order expiration time. So let's see if this order gets rejected by keeping things the same. So we want to purchase ETH at 2,900. We're going to calculate our quantity, and we want to set our stop trigger price 25% higher. So let's go ahead and run this block here, and we'll take a look at the order management. And now we see the order here. So as I mentioned, it's exactly the same thing as this previous one, except that our ETH order, since it's GTD, it's going to expire in 35 minutes if it doesn't get filled. So that's pretty much it. Those are all of the 10 functions that we have for the Coinbase API. And hopefully soon you'll be able to see the R package on CRAN. But if you want to use it now, I'll leave a link down in the description area to my Patreon, where I'll leave and post the tar file. Additionally, in the future, I'm going to be posting the package on GitHub, and I'll also leave a link in case there's any issues with the package or functions. And I do plan on adding to it. But this is pretty much all I have for now. So thank you so much for watching, guys. I'll see you guys in the next video.